What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's video. Let's chat number 10, bands versus solo acts. Again, everybody, thanks for checking out this video. If you've got a subject that you want to hear us talk about during Let's Chat, please leave a comment below. Okay, bands versus solo acts. Pros and cons, if you will. Now again, myself, I've been gigging out for over 30 years. For the first 8 or so years of my career, I played in nothing but bands all the time. For the last 15 or 20, roughly, it's been mostly solo that I've been doing things, with a little bit of time off going into playing in a band every now and again for a couple years, and then I'd go quite a long time without playing in a band while just doing solo stuff. So I can really see this from both sides of the fence, since I've regularly been on both sides of the fence. Just like any of these videos that I do with the verses, it's not really verses. I'm kind of more or less putting pros and cons to either or. Now, playing in a band, pros. You get to play with other musicians, especially if you have friends that you're playing with and you really like the people that you're playing with. You're never really lonely on a gig. And as well, even musically, there is something about playing with other musicians and working off of them, their energy and your energy musically, especially if you're doing a lot of improv and you're just kind of jamming and going away with things. Absolutely. Another thing is that usually in most cases, playing in a full band, you're in a venue that is going to command a lot more of attention than a solo act. As where a solo act is going to be playing mainly small pubs and restaurants where you're kind of more like background music. So another pro for playing in bands is that you have venues that are paying a lot more attention. Another pro with playing in a band is it's not on you to lug everything out and to set everything up and to tear everything down. You'll have many more hands to help, even though there's a little bit more gear, but the gear is usually evenly distributed through everyone, plus you all pitch in on whatever PA. So again, you've got a lot more help. Now, let's go with the cons of playing in a full band. 1, payment. The amount of money that you can get doing a solo act as opposed to playing in a full band in this area, for the most part, on common gigs, bars, restaurants, all that sort of thing, pales in comparison. You can make double the amount. You can have no problem making $200, $250 a night as a solo performer. But in a full band, usually 4 or more people in the band, you'll have a hard time getting more than $100 to $150 maximum doing your standard club gigs. Of course, casinos, special events, private parties, weddings, that's a completely different thing. For the most part, when doing club shows, you're making a lot more money as a soloist. So that's one of the cons for the full band. Another con for the full band, kind of a double-edged sword, is one of the pros, is having so many other people to work with. This makes it a lot more difficult when trying to do things like book a rehearsal or a gig. I can't begin to tell you how many times that while I was booking a band, I'd get the club owner on the phone. Yeah, can you do the 17th? Okay, 1 minute. Call the drummer. Hey, can you do the 17th? Yeah, okay, great. Call the keyboard player. Hey, can you do the 17th? Yeah, okay, great. Call the guitar player. Can you do the 17th? Oh, no, that's the night that I got my kid. Go back to the club owner. No, can't do the 17th. How about the 21st? And the same cycle repeats. As a solo act, if you get a call from said club owner, can you do the 17th? Yep, I can do it. Let's book it. Bang, it goes in there. Just done. That makes things a lot easier when you don't have a bunch of other schedules to book around. So that's one of the cons of playing in a full band. And what are the pros of playing as a solo act? Now, the pros of being in a solo act. One, that we kind of touched on before with the band's payment. You can get almost double of what you would get if you're a member in the band as far as payment goes in a solo act. No problem. Two, again, something that we kind of discussed, well, talking about the cons in the band, the ease of being able to book yourself without having to contact multiple people or look at other calendars to see when they're going to be available. That is a huge advantage. Now, here's what I believe to be the main pro and the whole reason I really decided to go solo. It's not what everybody thinks. People have told me two things. One, money, and two, ego. You get to be the show. Money's a little bit of it in there, but it wasn't because of ego. It's because of practicality. Now, this is something that's happened to me more times than I can count. You're playing in bands. Do it for 2 or 3 years, get a good name for yourself in said band locally, get good pay, good amount of gigs. Band breaks up. It happens. You form a new band. You start selling the same club owners and venues. Hey, got a new band. Great. Okay, I need to see it. Like, what? Yeah, I need to see or hear you. Got a demo before I can book you? Like, don't you know that I'm going to bring you the same type of quality that I had before? No, since it's a new band, you're starting off from square one again when the band breaks up. As a solo act, and I've told this to club owners that were booking me, I've actually got a venue that I'm one of the only solo acts that they ever book. And we were booking dates. Nah, I don't like to book more than 4 months out in advance. I kind of screw myself when, acts break up. And I said, hey, I'm a solo act. I'm not going to break up with myself. He said, good point. Okay, how about the 17th of that month? How about let's do another month? And so it went. That's one thing that you can rely on. I've got my own solo act going. It's the same name. I'm not going to break up with myself. I'm going to be able to keep my flow of fan base, venues, whatever I'm doing going consistently. That's always been a huge pain. The band breaks up, and then you got to go from square one to build everything up again. And even the people that used to follow you around in the last band might not be into your new project. This way, it keeps it consistent. You don't have to invest a whole bunch of time into something that might crumble in a few years. That was my main reason for going solo. That was the only time I was actually able to be in a band or solo act gigging with original material that I was able to plug during my shows because I'm a solo act. I put it on myself to come up with all the money, going back when you used to have to actually spend a lot of money to put on a CD, when not everybody had a home recording studio, to be able to get the original music out and go out and gig doing it. Because there's nobody to hold things back by breaking up halfway through recording the project. This happened in bands that I've been in before. So that way you didn't get a chance to get an actual product out and to be able to support it and to be able to plug it. Yes, I was able to do that at first. And one of the only times there's one other band that did that I was on the road with in the States. But other than that, the only time I was able to do that was while being a solo artist. Nobody else to argue on visions of which way they wanted to go. No conflicting schedules. The convenience of it. The fact that you can have guaranteed longevity. Again, I'm a solo act. I'm not going to break up with myself. It's not about ego and being able to be the star. It's just about the practicality. I've played in so many bands before that broke up and you had to start from square one again. It's just too much work and I'm not into it. I like doing something that I can propel forward infinitely as long as I want it to go forward for. That was always my main reason, and I think one of the biggest pros of being a soloist. And now the cons, which is pretty much the other side of the coin of being in a full band. A lot of the gigs that you do as a solo act, you're kind of more background noise. It's smaller pubs and restaurants. Well, there's not even a stage. It's literally they just take a table out of a corner and they pull it out and you set up in that area. You're just kind of background noise. You're not paid attention to as much. You're not really the feature. And it can get a little lonely. especially when you're, other side of the border, out on the road a little bit, out of town when you don't know anybody. It can be a little on the lonely side. And sometimes, hard to get that flair going when it's just yourself. So that about does it for this video. Again, if you got a subject you want to hear us talk about during Let's Chat, leave a comment down below. Thanks for checking out this video. Do what makes you happy.